I just dyed my hair blonde because I just dyed my hair, I don't know why. I just wanted to have a radical change because sometimes you need to have radical change in your life. Well, I did this 1 month ago. You know, this kind of things that you always say, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then you never do that.
I used to have a friend that had a really kind of out there alternative style, and she used to get stared at in public and she just didn't give a flying fuck. She inspires me to not care about what other people think about how I dress.
I feel like the way I dress impacts me in the way I carry out my day-to-day life. Whenever I'm dressed like I feel myself, I feel confident, and I get inspired by that and that feeling. I feel most comfortable when I'm dressed in my favourite clothes.
So my mum used to always tell me when, if I had a nice dress on, then I always had to have nice shoes on. If I've got nice shoes on, I've got to have nice hair. My mum definitely did instill in me, I guess, in a sense that if you're going to have a look, you got to go sort of all out for it. You know, I love people like Grace Neutral and Yolande Vista. They channel sort of, bald hair and no eyebrows and tattooed eyes and stuff like that, and they make it work themselves. And I think that gives me the sort of inspiration to say, what else can I do for myself?
Obviously, walking around Glasgow, you see people wearing similar items, same shoes, same jacket. That's not really how it should be, I think. Whatever suits you is what you should wear. If people decide to do that more, then we have a better place and the city looks brighter and better. I would say I class my style as usually probably just mix modern stuff with vintage. Modern shoes, example Vapor Max with maybe flared chinos or even a denim jacket and stuff like that. That's really how.
My style is a Rolodex of personalities basically, because I'm always kind of changing, but there's still one theme going through it. I'm always wearing a hint of black. I love femme fatale. I love kind of sexy female empowerment. I love it to be quite sleek and quite architectural in my style, mixed with classic glamour from the 40s in Hollywood. I feel like nowadays everyone's following what's on trend and everything, which is good and everything, but they're following too much. I think it's just all about taking it your own way, adding your twist, adding other themes that you're interested in. Don't be scared to push that boundary. If you feel that, is that going to be too much? Honey, too much is never enough. Let's be honest here.
So yeah, I'm basically inspired by different artists, especially David Bowie. It's just a really good way to get creative and express yourself in a different way that's you can show it to everyone and everyone can share in that experience.
I think expressing yourself with bold colours definitely portrays to people that you are confident even if you're not feeling confident.
Basically, I'm inspired by past decades. I'm really inspired by the 70s, and I made this jacket using an old pattern, and this took a lot of time and effort, and I feel you wouldn't put that much effort into something that you wouldn't love doing.
I love my yellow Doc Martens because they were cheap and they're in the vintage style that I like, 60s fashion I'm all about, and the bright colours draw people's attention. I like it when you're walking down the street and people take a double take at you because you're wearing something different, and it kind of feels great for people to have that reaction as if why are you wearing that?
Why be normal when you can be different? It's just so much more freeing, just not caring about anything else anyone cares about.
For me, sometimes it's kind of queering this idea of masculinity. Sometimes sort of appropriating things that are hyper masculine, the sort of like skinhead aesthetic and then reappropriating that and kind of feminising it in some sort of way. So it sounds a bit wanky, but kind of like creating this idea of masculinity and presenting it in a different way. Where I come from, it's maybe not always exactly a conscious effort, but when I've sat down and thought about it, I think that's kind of what I'm doing. I think it's kind of important to kind of have your own references when it comes to fashion, because I think a lot of the time it kind of feels like the high street defines what fashion is in the mainstream. I guess even though people might think you look a bit mad or a bit weird by kind of having a different sense of style, that's what kind of progresses fashion. It's the same kind of thing that progresses art and design and everything else, so it keeps it moving forward.